It is the political document that a lot of people have been waiting for, the Ontario budget being released, and a lot of people hearing about a potential for a tax cut or a tax credit going to people not making more than $50,000. Now, this is something that could benefit a lot of people, considering that after the pandemic, the economy has been going through an extremely rough time. Plus, people are dealing with inflation that is at its highest level in 31 years.
A lot of people that are currently, particularly in a low-income bracket, that are even having trouble putting food on their table right now. So I think it's great for them. If it really goes through, I question whether or not it is just a political move because of the election coming up.
Inflation is running rampant, and this is one way of making it a little less hairy for those that aren't that well off.
I think only the people who don't make a lot of money, the basic money, they're going to benefit from it, yeah? The people who are making over that, they are not going to benefit from that.
We are senior pensioner. The amount that we receive is not even enough for the high commodity prices like this. I wish that the government, Mr. Ford, will give a look with the senior citizens who are receiving very minimum amount of allowances.
Now, one business professor at McMaster University said this could be an expansion of the low-income individuals and families tax credit and could save people up to $300 a year.
How do you think that's going to go over? I mean, everyone is concerned about the rising cost of living. Inflation is through the roof. Is this something that might be enough for the Conservatives to win people's votes?
Well, it might. Now, one of the problems is it's a complicated thing to understand. So the lift credit only applies to your provincial taxes, not your federal taxes. And the biggest chunk of our income tax we pay is actually federal. So that doesn't change at all. If you earn $49,000 a year, you're still going to pay a big chunk to the federal government. And it's a credit towards, I think it's a credit of around $850. Again, I'd rather have the $850 in my pocket than in the government's pocket. But to read the fine print, it's not as easily understood as, for instance, canceling 5.7 cents a liter on the gas tax starting July 1st. That I see directly. It'll come directly at the pumps. That I easy to understand. When it's a credit that you apply towards this portion of what you pay, I think it gets harder to explain.
So as you can see from those accounts from people who we ran into at this Walmart here in Toronto, there are a lot of people concerned about the rising costs that they themselves are facing and that other people are facing. What they also point out is that none of this will come to pass because the budget is likely not going to be passed before the election, before the campaign actually starts next week. That means for any of these promises to take hold in Ontario, the government of Mr. Ford has to be re-elected in June.